One of the things that I see with a lot of friends, acquaintances, people I hear, family, right, is the penny smart, dollar stupid mentality, which people squabbling over $7 channel surcharges or buying this for $8 or that for $20. And they're debating. And it's like, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? And I don't know their finances, but at the same time, I'm like, I bet you like you're not even thinking about putting $100 extra into XYZ account, which like would make the $7 decision moot.
Dude, that's such a great point. How many people do we know that will fret on the $20 decision?
Millions.
but won't spend an hour a year on the $2 million decision, which is a date-specific, dollar-specific financial plan, right? We will spend hours debating face wash, but we won't spend an hour to put a financial plan that could be life-changing, not only for us, but for our children and our children's children if we do it right. Like, to me, it's bonkers. Like, if we're going to spend time on something, let's spend some time on some stuff that could make a substantial impact in our family's actual, living balance sheet.
Dude, I had a buddy, we were texting back and forth, debating, I think it was like a $79 pair of sneakers, which is great, fine. I'm not saying waste your money, but my whole point is like, this person, it's a guy, this person doesn't have a financial planner, as far as I know. And I'm just thinking in my head, texting back and forth. I can't say this, but I'm like, if you had the financial plan in place, this is an inconsequential conversation right now.
Yeah, 1,000%, because we do reverse budgeting. Let's identify the things that are most important to us when we want to get there. Okay, it's going to take these amount of dollars. We have the delta. And whatever you do with that, you do with that. Like, go buy the sneakers, because that should be a guilt-free decision if you have those dollars available to you in your budget. That is the freeing part of financial planning that you don't get unless you get it, right? If you have that sort of financial planning relationship, I believe that it takes a weight off your shoulders that you don't know even exists.
God, I wish we could, from the hilltop, get them there.
And we couldn't help everybody who would want to get help, but we could make a ripple, right? We could make an impact. And there's plenty of advisors out there who are doing great work. But I believe as a society, we would all be better off if we all had a financial plan. I wholeheartedly believe that it's important work. It's meaningful work. It is important that when done right, provides a huge benefit to all who participate in. And like anything, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. You don't do the annual meetings. You don't supply all the data to your financial planner. Don't be surprised when you don't get a great result. But if you're willing to engage, if you're willing to consistently go through the process, I believe that over years of time, you will pursue significantly better outcomes than what you otherwise would have happened.
One of the things you said was, it's just extremely unfortunate, the advisor culture and the service and the product that advisors, frankly, on a whole, on the grand scale, are bringing to their clients overall and to the industry. And I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that we see online, there's a lot of hypocrisy involved about, teaching people to be patient, but financial advisors tend to be really impatient people who want to hit the easy button all the time. I think there is a lot of preaching or speaking down to people and fear-based selling, none of which I think are positive and things that you would look for in an empathetic leader.
Do you think advisors feel, and I just, obviously no names named and no examples that anyone knows anything here, but like, do you think advisors feel, some advisors maybe, that their clients should be grateful that they have them? And like, well, how dare you question me? Or like, why would you ever question me? Or you should just be glad that you found me?
I mean, I do think that exists. And I think there's a fine line there, right? I mean, I think advisors should be proud in the work that they do when they are doing good work. And there is a sense that, man, I'm glad that these clients found me because I do believe that I do good work and that you're going to pursue better outcomes because you were with me than had you not found me. But I also feel that you have to earn that business every day. You can't take it for granted, and you can't just kind of mail it in because of past success or because the market has taken the account balance of your clients substantially higher. That may or may not have any direct impact on the planning work that you've actually done. So I think we're getting a lot of false positives right now.
One of the reasons I wanted to ask you that is because I've had conversations in the past with advisors I'm not working with, but it's come up during the due diligence process. And I hear things that they're not like criminal by any means, but they're ugly. And I kind of hate hearing it oftentimes. But there's things where I'll ask an advisor, have they reached out to, their clients? Have they been in communication with their clients? And one of the things that Corey Whalen brought up on episode 41 that I think is a big one is he said the most common reason clients leave an advisor is the lack of communication, right? It just becomes crickets. I had a conversation at one point with an advisor who was basically admitted to me he or she was afraid to mass communicate or communicate with clients because he didn't want to remind them of him or her. And I found that to be a wild statement, which basically alluded to this idea that they've either ignored them for too long or put them in a product that they maybe shouldn't be in or done something that they don't want to call their attention to.
Yeah, I mean, do work that you're proud of, and you never have to apologize for anything. If you've made a mistake, just try to own it and try to move forward. If you sold them a product that hasn't worked out well, if you sold them a solution that didn't work out the way that you had planned, I think it's much better just to go to the client and say, hey, I thought this was a good idea at the time, and this is the reasons why we did it, ABC. However, because of XYZ or because of things beyond our control, it's not doing what we had hoped it would do. And because of that, I think we need to make a pivot. I think most people will respect you for that conversation than hiding.
Oh my God, I sure would.
And I've had some of those conversations. We've recommended things that haven't worked out the way that we would have hoped they would have worked out, whether it be an individual stock or an ETF or whatever the case might be. Is you had good intentions of why you did it, but it just didn't work out. And I think those aren't necessarily fun conversations to have, but I think by and large, when you're in a trusting relationship, people will respect you more for having those conversations than for dodging it.
What do you think of those advisors, good advisors, who are building a good business, but they're just stalled out? They're just out of energy, out of gas, or they've hit that ceiling. They can't bust through. What do they need to hear? What do they need to do to push them over the edge to that next chapter of growth?
I think a lot of them need to do less to do more. I think a lot of advisors, when they first started out or they were growing their business, they were taught that, you need to do quarterly meetings with clients. And I think so much capacity is wasted by doing these arbitrary semi-annual or quarterly meetings. I'm just a huge believer in that Nick Murray theology, is that you spend a lot of time on the front end to get the plan in place, to make sure that you really understand the goals, the values, so that you get the plan in place. The plan determines the portfolio. Unless the goals change, we're not making changes to the portfolio. We're going to stay the course. We have unwavering commitment to the portfolio, to the plan. And so there's really no reason to meet quarterly. So I would much rather set the expectation with the client. We're going to do an annual review. That is the minimum commitment from you, the client, is you need to get with us for at least an hour every year to review the plan, make updates, make sure that we can make minor course corrections as needed so we don't have to make major course corrections later in life. However, we're also available to you for any micro meetings. Anytime you have an important financial decision that you're contemplating, we're here for you. We're on retainer, so to speak. Reach out to us. To me, that means that when we are together with our clients, we have more meaningful conversations. And what I see is that advisors are getting burnout by these very low-level, low-impact conversations. And now you can't serve nearly as many people because you've destroyed your capacity to serve. And I think that's the number one reason of why people plateau, is they just haven't built their business to grow. They've built their business in a way that's going to get to reach capacity so much sooner than it ever should. Historically, I have never seen a female client blow themselves up in a portfolio. I've never seen it. I've done this for 20 years. I've never seen it happen, Corey. And Rita, please give me some leeway here. I see men do it all the time. We've had basically a 15-year bull market. I have met with countless men who've lost 80% plus of their money. And it's the wife who sets the appointment and says, Nick meet Bill, Bill meet Nick. Bill's no longer allowed to trade our family's money. This happens, because men are superheroes and think that they can be, the guy from Billions, right? But that's not normal, right? To be 2 or 3 standard deviations to the right, to try to get 50% annualized returns, to buy someone's trading academy subscription That's not normal. Do those people exist? Sure. You're probably not one of them statistically. So it is those really, really painful situations that bring people to us. But I would love to meet people who are entering a level of complexity in their life. I really enjoy people who have complexity because I find it intellectually stimulating for me. So selfishly, I enjoy people that have some level of complexity. I would love to meet those people before the pain happens. I know they may not be ready for it, Corey, but I'd love to meet them there. But once they've had that significant amount of pain, they are a little bit more grounded and willing to listen to advice and guidance.
What would, this is bleeds into the marketing conversation, but like what would shock the individual who's just waiting too long? They haven't had the real pain. Is it, and I don't mean to sound this way, but sometimes this stuff, it's hard to make this work because everyone's journey is different. But like, is it by age 45 you should have? Is it by age 52 this should be what it looks like? Like, is it those, like, is binary as that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those articles like will shake people. Like, oh, I just read an article that by 45 you should have 8 times your salary saved. Okay, maybe. I don't know that there's any truth to that, but sometimes those things like, oh, I should have 8 times my salary at this age. I only have 2. Am I on track? Do I even have enough? Right? Do I have enough money to work with a financial advisor? And then are they looking for the magician? Right? So that is the question. If they've read that article, I should have 8x my salary by 45. I have 2x. Okay. Are they willing? There's 2 paths. Technically, there's 3 paths they could take. Path number 1, they stay on the path they're on. Nothing changes. If they want to make a fork in the road and veer left, do they choose the financial advisor who could give them a plan, tell them how much they need to invest every month to get where they want to go by the time they want to get there, which we call a date-specific, dollar-specific plan? Or do they veer to the right, the dark side, the trading magicians? Right? Are they going to do things to take on exponentially more risk to try to make up the gap from where they are to where they think they should be?
I think my magic wand for all of the prospects that are out there that should be KMP clients would be, God, I wish you knew of what just a little micro changes and putting a plan in place could do for you over the next decade, and then versus just missing it and just idly chugging along.